Well, many $million yachts, 100 crore rupee parties, and of course, not to forget, he also funds TV channels. They should also be reporting this tonight. I hope they do. It won't be bad. The absurdity of using the Rajya Sabha card is what we are debating tonight. And with us, big panel, it's an open debate. Bejon Misra, consumer expert. V Raghunathan on the top left, former President ING Vysa Bank. Captain Kedar Wagh, former pilot Kingfisher. Captain M R Wadia of the Federation of Indian Pilots. Siddharth Luthra, legal from the Supreme Court. Vijay Aggarwal of the Delhi High Court. C. Rajashekaran of the Madras High Court. Bimal Soni from Jaipur, Deputy President of the Rajasthan Cricket Association, and Shailendra Singh from Srinagar. Big panel, open debate. Feel free to come in. We are discussing, viewers, the king of loot, Vijay Mallya. Now he says, and let me start with you, Bejonda. He says, I am an MP. You can't ask me where I ran away with 7,000 crore rupees from. You are insulting Parliament. Asking me this question is demeaning the Parliament of India. Now that's the last thing, that's the last bit of nonsense that I hoped I would never hear even from Vijay Mallya. Bejonda, open the debate. And if anyone is defending Vijay Mallya tonight, I'll count them on my fingertips. Feel free to come, jump in. Yes, please.
It's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame that we have such parliamentarians in our country. You see, the global best practice is that if a parliamentarian is found to be a fraudster, he should resign on his own. He should not wait for the country to take action. In fact, the code of conduct of parliamentarian is that the parliamentarians are debarred from being a parliamentarian if they are caught doing any kind of a criminal activity.
Yeah.
And if they are doing any kind of a fraud which is not in the interest of the country, and it is actually cheating the citizens. So, Arnab, what we have to understand is that such parliamentarians, first of all, should not be made party to business entities.
Anyone backing Mallya?
Interest.
Anyone backing Mallya on this panel?
Amend the law if possible.
Anyone backing Mallya on this panel?
Yes.
C. Rajashekaran is backing Mallya on this panel.
I'm
told
here.
Siddharth Luthra is backing Mallya on this panel. Vijay Aggarwal is okay. I'm surprised. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know there are so many people who can defend the indefensible. Go ahead, Mr. Rajashekaran. You're an expert at it. What are Rajya Sabha members are gods and goddesses that we can't be held into account if they've done something wrong?
Arnab, I strongly object.
Okay, who's objecting? Captain Kedar Wagh of Kingfisher Airlines.
Arnab,
Captain Wagh and then Mr. Rajashekaran. Go on.
I strongly object.
Yeah.
Arnab,
Mr. Wagh, Captain Wagh.
Thank you,
Captain
Arnab.
Wagh.
I strongly object on Dr. Mallya being a member of Rajya Sabha. I strongly object on Dr. Mallya still being a member of Rajya Sabha. I seriously request the government of today to investigate why he is still a member of Rajya Sabha, who has nominated, on whose nomination he is still a member of Rajya Sabha, a person who is not paid salaries to his employees, a person who owes huge amount of debt to the government, to the taxpayers. And mind it, I am also a taxpayer. When I worked in Kingfisher Airlines, tax was deducted from my salary. Everything was done, and till today me and my colleagues have been hounded by the tax department, sent notices that why your tax is not being deposited. Who is answerable to all this? Why is such a fellow still a member of Rajya Sabha?
On the Newshour debate tonight, subject of discussion is Vijay Mallya using the Rajya Sabha card. Mr. Rajashekaran, yes please. The debate is open. Feel free to come in, anyone please. Vijay Mallya plays the Rajya Sabha card. What are Rajya Sabha members are a class above the general public? They're a class above the general public, Mr. Rajashekaran?
Arnab, see, I don't want to interpret, or don't want to defend that Vijay Mallya is a Rajya Sabha member and he cannot be prosecuted. That is not my point. First of all, we should understand, Dr. Mallya has inherited a huge empire. He is not made a fortune from the bank's loan or the people's money.
Of course he has.
Inherited an empire from Dr.
Of course he has. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
So you should understand.
What are you talking about? You don't know your facts. What do you mean inherit? You don't know your facts. You come unprepared on the debate tonight.
Let me finish.
He's taken 7,000 crore rupees of taxpayer money and is refusing to return that.
Why did he take loans from the bank?
Kedar Wagh is countering him. Shailendra Singh is countering him from both sides tonight. Of C. Rajashekaran.
Collateral security. I find a huge conspiracy on the part of the bank. Yeah, I find huge conspiracy on part of the bank. How can you give such a huge loan without taking collateral security?
Banks are equally responsible for paying us our dues as employees. Banks are shareholders. But Vijay Mallya is also Vijay Mallya is the promoter. It is duty of banks and Vijay Mallya to pay us our salaries.
Vijay Mallya is a man who uses his influence. Vijay Mallya is a man who uses his influence. Vijay Mallya is a man who uses his influence among politicians and the media. Among politicians and the media to suppress the facts. And viewers, you would know tonight. Who reports stories and who doesn't? Who's reporting the Ishrat case and who's not? Who's reporting the Vijay Mallya case and who's not? I don't need to say more than that. Mr. Raghunathan, please. Raghunathan to the absurd argument. Mr. Raghunathan and then Shailendra. Raghunathan.
To make a distinction here.
Yeah.
We need to make a distinction here. One issue is about Mallya. Whether he is shameless, what he is doing, how indifferent he may be to the difficulties of his unpaid employees is one thing. The bigger issue is that in this country, top 30 defaulters account for 1.12 lakh crore of public money. The 7,035 defaulters belong to, majorly 25% of them belong to State Bank and Central Bank of India. The point is, while the defaulters are doing what they do best, defaulting, what have the banks been doing, lending them amounts which are patently untenable without even asking for a seat on their boards? Normally in most decent countries, when the leverage levels go so high, banks usually ask for a place on the board. Here you lend 7,000 crore and banks don't have sufficient representatives sitting on the board steering the direction of a company which is going down the tube. So I think we have larger issues to worry about here.
Well, the larger issue to worry about here is the sheer frivolity of the argument being put. Shailendra Singh and Siddharth Luthra also coming in. Yes, feel free to come in. Siddharth Luthra and then Shailendra Singh. Siddharth and then Shailendra. Yeah, Siddharth.
Arnab, we need to understand there is the legal part and then there's the moral or the public part. On the legal part, I don't see how anybody can claim that because I'm a member of parliament, I'm exempt from the ordinary law of the land for acts which you've done in your private or professional or commercial life. I don't think that's at all going to fly with the courts or with the criminal justice system. So that's one part of the matter. The second issue is, we find every day that there are public servants, there are members of parliament or others who have been prosecuted for their individual acts and they can't take the shield of the fact of being a parliamentarian. The third issue is, and that's more crucial to our system, should there not be a greater look at the role of the bank?
No, you are shifting the blame.
Should there not be a greater
It's a very shifting.
What the banks were doing?
Case. What you are doing? No. Siddharth, I'll tell you. Siddharth, I disagree with you. I'll tell you why. Siddharth, just hear me on this. You see, what happens is, I remember. You remember, Siddharth. We broke the Commonwealth Games scam in 2010. You know what some people said at that point of time? They said the problem is not Suresh Kalmadi. The problem is the system. Similarly, in the 2G case, people said the problem is not A Raja. The problem is the system. Siddharth, you're not getting the point. I'm letting Shailendra counter you and then I'll come back. Shailendra, I'll come back to you.
The point is something else.
Shailendra and then
we have to see it as a larger issue. One man benefiting is a serious concern.
First of all, I think huge compliments to the Times Now team, because if you and your team didn't bring this to the notice, this was pretty much a dead and buried issue. The fact that worries me, and I think it surely worries the entire nation, is that why has Mr. Vijay Mallya has such arrogance with this entire episode? He just doesn't care care. And I think he doesn't care because he knows the law of the land. And he seems to have ensured that he's well protected by the law of the land and also the people that he's managed to have as partners in this entire journey of the scam. Because if he goes down, many influential people will go down.
I'd say today, one second. I'd say one thing openly tonight, Shailendra, I'd say tonight one thing. Shailendra, one point I want to make for my own fraternity. Let there be an investigation.
Sure.
You know how many journalists have accepted free hospitality and largesse from Vijay Mallya?
Exactly.
Let there be an investigation on that. Because you can't suppress the system unless you have got friends in every part of the establishment. We say tonight,
well protected. No, well protected.
Yeah, you feel protected. If you have one section of the media with you, if you have some political friends, you feel protected. Now that's the question. We need to lift that protection away, Bimal Soni. We need to make Vijay Mallya feel vulnerable. Bimal Soni. Bimal Soni.
Bimal Soni is the manipulation of the law.
Bimal Soni. What do you want to do? Bimal Soni.
It's completely
Bimal Soni.
Morally,
Arnab,
Mallya is wrong.
Because of this
and
protection,
I'm again telling
no morals in this.
But the law of the land,
the USL deal went
law
and
of the
gave
land
donation of 90 lakh rupees
is what he is using
and did not
to protect himself.
Pay his employees.
So as a parliamentarian, he cannot be protected.
Obviously,
as a person, he cannot be protected.
That has allowed him to do that.
Arnab,
I'm sorry.
You see,
I am very clear.
See, viewers.
Arnab, he may be a sports-loving entrepreneur, but he cannot take the law in his hands.
It will not just
he cannot take the protection from Parliament.
And also all the banks.
No. Yeah, Shailendra. Let me come to the moot point. Let me come to the moot point. The Neera Radia case. The Neera Radia case. I'm about to say something. Just give me a minute's attention. The Neera Radia case exposed the unacceptable and murky links between some politicians, some corporates, and most disgracefully and unfortunately, some journalists as well. Now, that case, if that was to be taken as an epitome, A. Raja should have been spared from scrutiny because he was a Lok Sabha minister, member and a minister. Suresh Kalmadi should have been spared from scrutiny because he was a parliamentarian. Lalu Prasad should have been spared from scrutiny in the photo scam because he was a parliamentarian. Kanimodi in the 2G case. Kanimodi in the 2G case should have been spared from scrutiny because her name cropped up in the 2G case because she was a parliamentarian. Dayanidhi Maran should have been spared from scrutiny in the SL Maxis case. The point is
why did the country wait for Mr. Roy to owe the country 70,000 crores and then put him in jail?
Well, I don't know. Mr. Mallya you're talking about. You're talking about Vijay Mallya.
You have a higher moral standard.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, we are talking.
When you're in a higher.
I mean, really, somebody talking about morals. Obviously, Mr. Mallya is not interested in any kind of morals.
Well, I
think in public life, if you are a parliamentarian, then you are answerable to a higher moral standard, and that's what
our constitution permits people like him to be representing our nation.
Well, let's get Captain Wadia from the Federation of Indian Pilots on what he thinks about this, and also hasn't spoken yet, Vijay Aggarwal. Captain Wadia.
What moral standards are we talking about? A person goes and donates.
If you have a
exactly.
Yeah, Captain Wadia.
Because his USL
Captain M R Wadia, please go on.
At the same time.
Okay, we lost Mr. Captain Wadia's link. Let's go to Vijay Aggarwal.
Or even a minister makes no difference whatsoever.
At the same time.
Are we judges? We are judging a person. He has a right of trial. We must understand that he is an accused. He is not a convict.
I don't think he got
so our problem is that before anything we start judging a person.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Shailendra is laughing at you.
No, not that.
He is being judged.
There are all evidences.
Arnab, you are very correct.
There are all evidences.
Okay, Vijay Aggarwal. Vijay Aggarwal will
have evidences.
That nobody has an immunity as a Rajya Sabha MP.
Two at a time, Vijay Aggarwal
Nobody
and
has an immunity as a Rajya Sabha MP.
One gentleman can take away 7,000 crores of every citizen. I mean, really, are we fine with this? Are we fine with the system? Are we fine with the law? Are we fine with the politicians? That this can happen? 10 more businessmen can take 7,000 crores and 70,000 crores can go out of the Indian economy, and that is fine.
Absolutely.
And people can die and hang by trees because they can't afford a single meal a day.
Rajashekaran.
Now, is your Air India not leading? Are you not paying for Air India? Is the problem of the business? Are you not paying for Air India? Is the taxpayer not paying for the losses of Air India?
What are you talking? He owns a cricket team, he owns a Formula 1 team, he runs a calendar. Are you serious? I mean, it wasn't about an airline, for God's sake. He just made a joke about it that he's not flying now when the oil prices are low.
Arnab is very correct when he says
he knows the law of the land,
a parliamentarian does not give any immunity. You come to Patiala House, we'll show you a lot of MPs roaming around. But the problem with the public perception is that the moment a scam breaks out, anything breaks out, what they do is they start judging the people. Let him be tried. It is for the courts to decide. It is not for us, for this panel to decide who is right, who is wrong.
And let everybody else be tried who actually helps
Mr. Rajashekaran and Mr. Raghunathan.
We were talking of V Raja. Do you know that Neera Radia is a prosecution witness in the case of V Raja? Do we know this? That Neera Radia is a witness fielded by the CBI against A Raja.
I want to make a point.
Well, I don't think Neera Radia and the corporates, politicians and journalists who connived with her are the epitome of virtue. The less spoken about all these three categories, the better. My question is, and Mr. Rajashekaran and Raghunathan need to debate this. In 2006, while explaining his role as a Rajya Sabha member, Vijay Mallya said, and I quote, "I am a person who promotes the concept of accountability to a great extent and have spoken in Parliament and reinforced the need for accountability." Now tell me, Mr. Rajashekaran, where is Malya's accountability to the taxpayer? He's looted 7,000 crores from them. Where is his accountability to the taxpayer when he has a lavish birthday party costing 100 crore rupees? Where is the accountability?
Did you ask the accountability from Air India?
I am asking about the accountability from Vijay Mallya. Mr. Rajashekaran.
No, what about Air India?
Mr. Rajashekaran.
Yes.
Why are you comparing a private airline to a national carrier?
Mr. Rajashekaran and then Mr. Raghunathan.
Yes, See, it is... Yes, Arnab, see, Vijay Mallya is a businessman. He takes loan from the bank. And you cannot rule out a business to come down, to face lot of hardships. He may land up in trouble, and you should give the benefit of doubt and allow him to come back and pay the loan.
So he's bankrupt.
You cannot just thrash him.
You are saying he's bankrupt.
Say that
you are saying he's bankrupt, right? No, sorry. You are saying he's bankrupt.
He's running away from law.
You are saying he's bankrupt. You are saying he's bankrupt, right?
See, any business.
You are saying poor Vijay Mallya got bankrupt. Why are you going after him? No, I don't want to. But I'm simply asking the poor bankrupt, terribly broke Mr. Vijay Mallya, that Mr. Bankrupt Vijay Mallya, how did you just buy a Caribbean T20 team? How did you buy? Arey bhai, how can a bankrupt man own 40% of a Formula 1 team? How does a bankrupt man have a 100 crore party? How does a bankrupt man provide hospitality to so many journalists at one time? How does a bankrupt man run a yacht like that? How does a bankrupt man have a birthday party in his, if that includes a guest list of 600 people in a villa in Goa? If he is not bankrupt, he's cheated the people. And I'm saying he's cheated the people because the establishment has allowed him to do that.
Him from doing all this.
You pull him back kicking and screaming. Mr. Raghunathan, you've run a bank in the past.
Only do that.
Mr. Raghunathan, Mr. Raghunathan, you've been a banker. Why don't you tell Mr. Rajashekaran a few home truths?
I want to comment.
Arnab, Mr. Rajashekaran, Mr. Raghunathan is saying
something. I think you have hit the nail on the head. The question is not whether Mallya has any sense of shame or not. He is shameless. Nobody with any sense of propriety or shame would openly cock a snook at the public at large when he is a willful defaulter before the public bank. The real issue here is we do not have a market for bankruptcy. If only the banks had entered well in time, just as we did in case of Hyderabad company which Tech Mahindra took over, Satyam. Something like that needs to be done so that people who have been given a long rope can be booted out of the management where they have no business being there anymore. In any decent country these days, like Chapter 11 in the US, in 1 month, if a company falls behind its due payments, you can bring them to Chapter 11.
Absolutely,
in India, we are still talking about struggling with a bankruptcy law, which is still pending with the
Bejon Misra.
There's a demand for a
Bejon Misra, Shailendra Singh, opening up one more time.
Thing was being put under the joint parliamentary committee and so on. So when are we going to get on cutting across this nonsense and bring people to book?
Well. Vijay Mallya has very powerful friends in a powerful cabal of politicians, journalists, politicians, some media, and some corporates. We must now investigate how many people accepted his hospitality over the years. It's a disgrace that the story is not being reported in so many channels tonight.
Yes, it has to be made.
I'd go to Bejon Misra tonight. Bejon Misra, the borrower defaults on his payments despite having the resources to pay back what is lent.
Premium price into equity.
Well, if Mallya, as per the banks, has willfully defaulted on the payments which amount to 7,000 crore rupees, he should be liable for criminal action, Bejon Misra. Drag him back. Drag him into criminal action.
The point is something more.
You see,
the point is fundamental.
He took full money from the consumers. He took the full. Please keep quiet when I'm talking. Please, 1 minute. Just listen to me. He took full money from the consumers, the passengers. He did not pay the landing fees to the government. He did not pay the oil companies. He diverted all that money, to buy shares in formula companies, and he had good fun and vacation on the cost of the consumers who paid full money to Kingfisher, who expected that he would give us some good time.
Mr. Wadia,
he never gave us a good time.
Mr. Wadia,
all our money.
Mr. Wadia, you have not spoken. You've not dealt with Vijay Mallya. Do you think he will own up? Will he own up?
I have, and that's why Arnab, why I'm surprised that people are debating today. We knew in the aviation industry, we knew from the day one, this was not a business venture which would succeed. The manner in which he went about starting this airline, running the airline, it was never meant to succeed at all. It was mainly a PR exercise to impress people what a good airline it was. It was never meant to be a good business proposition. And the law applies equally to all citizens, today whether you are a member of a Rajya Sabha or a member of parliament or even a minister.
It was an advertisement.
Ministers have been sent behind bars, and I don't see why we should be debating this, whether he should be punished or not. The law is the same for everyone, and it should apply to everyone.
Businessman will invest 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores to make PR exercise.
Well, you know what? If he gets the money free and if he gets the money free and he thinks he's going to run away with it, he will. I say he got $75 million from Diageo, 550 crore rupees he got from Diageo following his resignation last week as the USL chairman. I want Vijay Mallya to pledge the entire amount to the banks that he owes. Let Vijay Mallya feel the squeeze. Take the money out of him. Here is a wonderful opportunity to show to the cabal in this country that they can't get away with it. Vijay Mallya, if you're watching tonight, Vijay Mallya, if you're watching tonight, and I was told that Vijay Mallya was following our debate yesterday. I was told that Vijay Mallya was following our debate yesterday. Vijay Mallya, I know you're watching this. I know you're watching this, Vijay Mallya. Understand, Mr. Vijay Mallya, your time is up. Come out and own up. The country demands an answer from you. I thank you all for joining me on debate number 2 on the King of Loot on the Newshour tonight.